In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to enable VTY lines for managing Cisco devices. So Cisco has VTY lines that are used for network management, and it's used by Telnet and SSH to manage network devices. Each device has a default of 5 VTY lines and a maximum of 16. So 0 through 4 are available, they're the defaults, and then there's 5 through 15 available as well. And you can use VTY or virtual terminal lines. It can be accessed either in band or out of band. So they're quite easy to configure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with router 1. I'm going to enable the VTY lines on there. Then I'm going to enable VTY on router 2. Then I'm going to test it by starting a telnet session from the host to router 1. I'm also going to test to make sure router 2 is available and can be managed from another device. So I'll start a telnet from router 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with router 1. I'll start with configure terminal. So the first thing I need to do is enable a password. So the enable password is mandatory whenever you want to access a device and manage it from a telnet or SSH session. It is mandatory, so it has to be configured. So I'm just going to do something like just enable this password here. The next thing I want to do is start with the VTY lines. So I'm going to start with the defaults because that's enough. There's 5 of them. And typically that's all you'd ever use. Sometimes you use more at a data center, but often it's just 1 or 2 lines you typically use, based on how busy you are. So line VTY04. The next command, I want to put a password on it. And I'll do something like CCNA exam. And then the login command, that will enable login for the VTY line. Then I'm going to do an exec timeout statement. And what this does is as exec timeout 5, what that will do, it will close a telnet or SSH session when it's been idle for any more than 5 minutes. And that's a nice security procedure as well. So I'm going to go over to router 2 and do the same thing. So here the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with an enable password. Just do the same thing. Then I can start with my VTY lines. 04. So I'll just use the same password. CCNA exam. Enable login with just a single login command. And then exec timeout. And I'll set that for 5 minutes as well. And that's all there is to it. So that's now been enabled on both routers. So I'll go over to the host. I'm going to start a command prompt, and I'm going to ping 192.168.1.2. And whenever you want to start a telnet or SSH session, you do need to start it use an IP address or host name. And anytime you've got a network interface that's active and it's got an IP address, you can use that. So for this example, 20 is 192.168.1.2 and 10 is 192.168.2.1. So I can actually start a telnet session use either of those IP addresses. And so I'm starting a ping, make sure that it works okay. Now telnet. So I'll just start with the password, the VTY password. Now I'm on router 1. So now I'll just enable. Now this is the enable password. And I'm on there. So we'll go show run. Look at my configuration. And there it is there. Now what I want to do, I could actually just go over to router 2 now from the host. And I need an interface. So 10 is 22 and 20 is 32. So I could use either interface, doesn't really matter. So what I'll do is I'm going to exit here first. So now I've actually closed my connection to router 1. Now I'm going to telnet over to router 2. Okay, and type the VTY password. And now I'm going to use the enable password. And now I'm on router 2 from the host. At this point I'm just going to exit the session. That closes the telnet session. Another thing I can do is I can go to router 1 as well and start a telnet session from here to router 2. I'll do the same thing. And this time, same password, CCNA exam. Now I'm on router 2. And I'm going to sign on with enable password. Now I'm on router 2. And then I'll just exit. And this closes the connection to router 2 from router 1. And that concludes VTY.